Jason, so wonderful to have the opportunity to meet with you on Zoom today. How are you, and how's your family? How's everything going now?
Oh, we're okay. Yeah, we're good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, we're just, it's the first day of the holidays here. So, my wife's working. I'm working from home, and the house is full of kids, and it's sort of slightly crazy. And I think that's probably been the experience of a lot of people in the last year or so.
Yes, sir, that is for sure. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear everybody's healthy and happy, and that's the main thing. So good stuff on that. Congratulations first on everything. But this series, McDonald and Dodds, well, first of all, you've got to know how crazy we are here in Canada for anything British. Why is that?
Well, probably, I don't know. I hesitate to say because we're superior beings, but that clearly isn't true. I'm not sure. I mean, it's language, isn't it? And all that, a common language, and the European sort of inheritance, heritage, and a bit of that. But I don't know. There's an enduring appeal about maybe it's to do with literature, perhaps. So some of our sort of great literature of the past, sort of Dickens and all those sorts of things, and Shakespeare, and how our characters are so well drawn, and that's come forward perhaps into television and into the genre, into sort of filmmaking, and maybe it's something to do with that. And our sense of humor seems to work across continents, and it's so it's a mixture of a sort of dramatic inheritance and our comic, which I suppose is sort of typical of McDonald and Dodds. But answering your question directly, I mean, I'm not. I don't know. I mean, it obviously does well in the States, and our show I know does well in Japan, Korea, and so I don't know. Who knows? It's long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus we have the Queen in common, so come on,
We do. We're not as far distant and different as we think, perhaps. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I love this series because, on so many levels, but I wanted to ask, I mean, who doesn't love a good murder mystery series? Is that something that is a genre that you've always been interested in?
I mean, yeah, I suppose, you're often drawn to, I've done all sorts of dramas, sort of gritty things, Line of Duty, all those sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do secretly watch Poirot. I've done a Poirot, and so I like watching those in the afternoon. Sometimes we don't have an afternoon now; I've got too many children and too busy. But I mean, I really do find time to watch them, and they are a delightful puzzle, and they're and you can stretch your mind and enjoy the characters, and so and the puzzle of the mystery itself, and be outraged at the horror of it, and be intrigued by the puzzle of it and the result and the outcome, and guess who's done it and who hasn't and why. And so it's a continuing, evolving piece in itself. And I suppose it's great that it is over 2 hours often.
Yes.
And you're led in on a real journey.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you that, Jason, because when we watch these episodes, they're lovely because they're like little mini movies. They're 2 hours. That must be so refreshing for you to be able to flesh out a character and have that kind of time frame. Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, the explosion of box sets in the last 10 years, since Sopranos really broke the mold, which is obviously further back than that. But, that sort of started our journey into box setting. And you think, well, what's been great about it is that people get to know characters over a long period of time, from The Wire through to Mad Men, through to, you get to watch a character evolve. And what's great about McDonald and Dodds and the genre of this is that you get 2 hours of a character in a dilemma, and then that's housed within a series. So it's sort of, you're getting twice that much. So you're seeing a character going deeper into a story. And I think what's great about the genre is that, often the mysteries are reflected onto the characters themselves. Like a particular crime will affect the detective more than another one, and the duo, and even the way the duo works. So for each single episode, that's what you've got. And then, of course, over the series, you've got two or three others. So.
Exactly. And this character that you play, DS Dods, I mean, he's well, can I say quirky? I mean, he's so interesting. Yeah, I love him.
You're going to say odd. You're going to say odd and strange.
Odd. Okay, good. I'm glad that you feel that way. Did you relate to him on any level, or he's fun
not at all. There's nothing like him in me at all. I'm completely the opposite. I'm not at all anal, or or meticulous, or shy and retired. I mean, yeah, there's too much of him in me to be comfortable. But I love him because he's sort of, I can be a bit sort of exacting, I suppose. I like to be quite exacting, not in an aggressive way, but I kind of, I like to work things out and have a kind of, to do it well. I like doing things well. I like doing things the best that I can do them.
For sure.
And sometimes you just can't, and you have to accept that. And sometimes you're not very good at it. And of accepting that, you have to accept that nothing is perfect. And perhaps, Dodds has a little bit of that, but he is certainly meticulous and is, although in a rather analog person, perhaps, it's Tyler's character, McDonald, who has the iPad and he has the little black book.
Yeah.
But what I like about him is that he swims, he's open to change, which I think is lovely about him.
Yeah.
And he has hope. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And I wanted to ask you about the chemistry with Tyler, because was it instant with the two of you? Did you get on right away?
Yeah, it was. We were put together, and it just sort of happened. I think there were lots of people were seen, I think, and we just sort of hit it off straight away. And she was just so determined. She's just so sort of, what was great was she's so determined. And I mean, it's humbling every time you have a chemistry read, because people work so hard, when they're at home, and then they come in and they've got 5 minutes, and she just went smash, but also was very funny. And it just worked. It just kind of worked. It was a no-brainer.
It's good to see you two together. I like the differences in the characters. Obviously, it makes it work, and you guys are great together. For this season, lots of amazing guest stars. I got to ask you, though, of course, about Rob Brydon, because seriously, he is so funny, so good. How do you keep a straight face opposite someone like him?
Well, he's a very unpleasant person, you see. So, I mean, that's... The problem was we had too much fun, me and him. I mean, we enjoyed each other's company so much. Well, you're sort of working at it together. That what's great about the show is that they're murder. I mean, they're serious crimes, and right. But it is a light drama, and you can turn the comedy dial. And who better to turn the comedy dial with than Rob Brydon, it's good for him. And this is what we hope about the series as we go on, and as we go into the third recording, the third series, is having wonderful actors like Rob be able to stretch their muscles a bit and play against type, or so he's both a comic character and a more complex character. So and that goes to a lot of the actors that we get. They're able to flex their acting muscles, and so Rob was he was a lot of fun, and there were many impersonations. Man in the Box. I mean, it's like going through his greatest hits. I mean, you probably know just the little Man in the Box.
Yes.
I'll let him do that. And Alan Bennett. He does a brilliant Alan Bennett. And I do quite a good McKellen. So there was a lot of, a bit of that going on.
Yeah. Oh, good fun. You've had the opportunity to work with some pretty amazing co-stars over the years. No question about it. I do need to ask about working with David Tennant, because, again, really so awesome.
Yeah, Dave, I think we probably worked together about 5 or 6 times, I think.
Yeah.
And seemingly about 5 times in the last year. I reckon you just can't do it without me now. So I've got to get it in.
I think you're right.
Do you think that's it? I don't think it's the other way around. We did Des and Around the World in 80 Days we've just done actually in South Africa, which I think is going to come out towards Christmas.
Wow, I can't wait till that. I heard about it. That must have been a lot of fun to shoot.
Yeah, and interrupted by COVID, and interrupted is that the right word? I mean, it's a whole life change for everybody, isn't it? But I mean, and on McDonald Dodds, we had to observe all the COVID rules of filming all through the second series. David's great, and always very busy, isn't he? I mean, and great that he's stretching his muscles, isn't he? He's looking for parts that take him different places, and I think that's what we all try and do. I try and do that in the work that I do, and the actors that come in and support us and help us in this are grabbing the opportunity.
Yeah. Last, I want to ask you. I mean, obviously, you were also in another amazing show, The Crown. And in that one, you're playing Prime Minister Harold Wilson. And I gotta say, first of all, to upstage Olivia Colman, gotta say it's a little hard, but you kind of did, I have to say, So working opposite her must have been, again, amazing. But B, I want to ask you, when you're playing such a historical figure like that, somebody who was, obviously lived, is that more pressure on you as an actor?
Yeah, I suppose you can see. Olivia was, working her is one of the most brilliant experiences, I suppose, of one's professional life. And I think a lot of people will say that, when they work with her, she's just so alive on and off camera, she's very, and an amazing person and actor. So it was a privilege. I've worked with her before briefly, but it was a privilege to work and watch her work as well and be in those scenes. It was a real privilege. So I was very lucky. And so, there is a responsibility, perhaps. There's a responsibility in terms of impersonation. You want to get that right, but there's a kind of there's a perhaps responsibility to the family as well. And the family reached out to me, and we were going to meet. And his university at Oxford asked me to come and be their guest of honour that year on their anniversary, but that COVID put pay to that, sadly. Yeah. And I met people who knew him and worked for him. And I really liked Harold Wilson. I suppose I liked his politics, and I liked him as a person, right, from what I learned. So you wanted to do him justice in that respect, and put a good light on his legacy. It was complex, didn't get everything right, but he was at heart a good man, and you wanted to, a good person. You wanted the audience to see that.
Yeah, well, you did do a fabulous job. Well, congratulations on everything. And we're excited in Canada that we're going to get this new season of McDonald Dodds. Again, brilliant. You're so wonderful. And what a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your time today, Jason.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Yes. Take care. Have a nice
weekend.
Bye-bye.
And you.
Bye.
Bye.